The plane had already taken off and silence filled the cabin. My son was staring at the clouds outside the window. Suddenly, he grabbed my hand tightly. His fingers were shaking. His eyes froze on one spot. In a trembling voice, he said, "Mom, it's Dad." My heart stopped. I looked at him first. Then I followed his gaze. A man was standing in the aisle. He was adjusting his bag overhead. His height looked familiar. His walk felt familiar. For a moment, my eyes betrayed me. Memories rushed in like a storm. My husband had died 5 years ago, in a terrible car accident. The white hospital lights flashed in my mind. His last breath echoed in my ears. And now this moment. I forced myself to breathe. I pulled my son close. Softly I said, "Sweetheart, that's not possible." He trembled. Tears filled his eyes. He shook his head stubbornly. "No, Mom, that's Dad." He promised he'd come back. My heart broke. A promise that was never fulfilled. I looked at the man again. He wasn't exactly the same, but he was close enough. Close enough to reopen wounds. My son kept staring at him. Afraid to blink. Afraid he might disappear. The man turned around. Our eyes met. He smiled gently. It wasn't my husband's smile, but it was painful enough. My son gasped with joy. "See, Mom, Dad is smiling." I swallowed my tears. I lowered my gaze. I couldn't lie to him. And the truth was unbearable. The man walked forward. My son watched him closely, until he disappeared behind the curtain. My son's eyes went empty. His hope fell silent. He didn't ask questions. He didn't cry loudly. He just went quiet. I stroked his hair gently. His head rested on my shoulder. His breathing was heavy, like his heart was tired. After a while, he whispered, "Mom, did Dad forget us?" My heart shattered. I said, "No, sweetheart, never. He's always with you." He closed his eyes, trying to believe me. The plane climbed higher, and we sank deeper into memories. Time felt frozen. I remembered the day I lost my husband. The day my son lost his father. The first time he cried for him. When he asked, "Where is Dad?" And I had no answer. Today, the same question returned. Only the words had changed. The pain was the same. The wound was the same. Only my son was older now. The captain announced the landing. Passengers adjusted their seats. My son opened his eyes. He looked back once more. The man was gone. His eyes filled with tears. But he didn't cry. He tried to be brave, like his father once taught him. I held him tightly. People began to leave the plane. My son walked silently beside me. His hand stayed in mine. Suddenly he asked, "Mom?" I replied, "Yes." If that wasn't Dad, why did he feel like Dad? I had no answer. Maybe children recognize truth with their hearts. Or maybe grief searches for familiar faces. I said, "Because you miss him deeply." He nodded. "I do, Mom." We stepped into the airport. The night air was cold. He took a deep breath. "Mum, I feel better." I asked, "Why?" He said, "At least I saw him." Tears rolled down my face. Maybe it wasn't really him, but the feeling was real. The hope was real. The love was real. We sat in the car. City lights passed by. My son stared out the window. Softly he said, "Mom, if Dad is in heaven, can he see us?" I replied, "Yes, sweetheart, he can." He smiled. A peaceful smile. Like his heart found an answer. He closed his eyes. Sleep took him gently. I kept watching him. His face resembled his father's. The same eyes. The same innocence. I whispered a silent prayer, asking God to protect his heart. Because life is not easy. Especially for children like him. Children who lose a parent. I couldn't sleep that night. The scene replayed again and again. The plane, the man, the cry. It's Dad. One sentence, countless wounds. The next morning, my son woke up smiling. As if nothing happened. But I knew better. Some things stay inside forever. He went to school. I sat alone at home. I looked at the framed photo. His father's picture. I whispered, "He hasn't forgotten you. I promise." Time kept moving. But that flight stayed with me. That moment stayed with me. When past and present collided. When hope faced reality. I learned something that day. Children's wounds are silent. That they are deep. And mothers must be strong. Even when their hearts are breaking. Even today when I see a plane. My chest feels heavy. My son is growing up now. He asks fewer questions. But memories remain. He knows his father won't return. That love never leaves. That is the truth. That is reality. That is life. Who was that man? Just a stranger. Or a test of faith. But he taught us something. Grief looks for faces. Hope finds a voice. It's Dad. It wasn't just a cry. It was a prayer. One that wasn't answered. But it reached the heart. Life moves on this way. Some questions stay unanswered. Some promises stay broken. But a mother and son together. That bond is the strongest truth. We learn to walk forward. With pain. With memories. With hope. That flight ended. But the story didn't. Because it was a story of life. Of a mother. Of a son. And of a father's memory. Unseen, but deeply felt. Every day. With every breath. I taught my son one thing. Being strong isn't weakness. Crying is courage. Remembering is love. Accepting is life. He smiled and said, "Mom, I'm okay." And I knew. He truly was. Slowly healing. Some stories begin with noise. And end in silence. This was one of them. It began with a cry. And ended with an embrace. It's Dad. And then, quiet acceptance. This was the truth. This was life. And this was our story.